Now on Radio Glamorgan, something special just for you.
Hello and welcome to the Sporting Roundup, the Radio Glamorgan weekly sports show produced by final year sports journalism students at the University of South Wales. I'm your host for this week, James Dodd, and I'm a die-hard Cardiff Blues fan from Barry. I am joined by my fellow coursemate, Haylen McCarthy. We have a great show lined up, talking about the biggest news stories in Welsh sport, as well as recapping and previewing all things Welsh football and rugby. Dylan James, a final year sports journalism student, was fortunate enough to speak to Grand Slam winning captain Michael Owen. You will be able to hear what he had to say later in the show. Now, we are kicking off the show with a classic. Here is Surfing USA by the Beach Boys.
You're listening to Radio Glamorgan.
That was Surfing USA by the Beach Boys. Now, throughout the show, we will be testing your sporting knowledge. This week, we have 3 famous sporting commentaries that you need to identify and what iconic moment in sport they are from. So make sure you're here for that. Now, it's time to look at a brand new section of the show that we like to call the Sporting Headlines. Firstly, there are doubts over the future of Football Association of Wales Chief Executive Jonathan Ford. Ford was the subject of a vote of no confidence passed by the FAW Council on Monday, 22nd of February. Lauren Price has been named GB's boxing's best female boxer for the 3rd year in a row. And Wales' top flight and Welsh Premier Women's League are set to recommence early next month after having their elite status reinstated with immediate effect. So, Haylen, how important is that for the Welsh clubs, financially and just as a club, who want to play sport?
This is great news for Welsh football. It'd be great for the fans to be able to watch their teams play again. Obviously, won't be allowed in the stadiums just yet, but still, it's great to get football back going.
Radio Glamorgan.
Now, it's time for your first quiz question. Can you guess what sport and event this famous commentary is from?
Have you seen anything like that?
And while you think about that one, here is REM with Losing My Religion.
Radio Glamorgan.
That was the American band REM with their big hit, Losing My Religion. Now, let's move on to the next part of the show, the sporting recap.
So, James, Wales' team against England has been announced and Josh Navidi is in the starting lineup again. What do you make about that?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, he's obviously been, pretty unlucky the last kind of couple of months with his neck injury and the concussion problems he's had. So, yeah, I'm delighted for him that he's starting. Aaron Wainwright has did a very good job in replace of him. And, we've seen how good James Botham is as well. So, yeah, it's good to see the VD back. We all know how, physical he is, how strong he is, Jacqueline, we're turning the ball over, so yeah, it's he'll be happy to be back.
It's a historic day for George North. How big of a player has he been in his Wales career?
Oh, he's been awesome. At 28 years of age to get 100 caps, I think he will, if he stays fit and, keeps the good form going, there's no reason why he can't be up there with Alan Jones and the number of caps he's got. And he's been awesome, consistently. I think, since 2010, he made his debut against South Africa, scored a brace of tries. He's been awesome. So, and, even recently, he's had his good times and his bad times. And recently he's came back, was dropped in the Autumn Nations Cup by Pivac. And now he's back. He's playing well for the Ospreys. He's at 13 for Wales. So, a position he's not completely used to, but it's like, he scored against Ireland. He's been playing very well and he'll be fired up for this one.
Jonathan Davis is back in at 12 for Wales. How much of an impact will that have for Wales?
Yeah, it's a big call by Pivac. Davis has been a bit unlucky the last couple of months. He's had his ankle injury. He played for the Scarlets twice against the Blues, where the Scarlets lost both times, and he didn't really seem to be firing on all cylinders. So it's a big call. Apparently, he's been training very well, and we all know, he'll be fired up as well as the England at the end of the day. But yeah, I think Willis Halaholo's probably a bit unlucky. I thought his impact coming on at the end of the first half against Scotland probably deserved a start. I think when you look at his setup for Louis Sammet's try, he made a turnover. So he was heavily involved, and I think he definitely would be ready for the game on Saturday. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, but it's there's quite a few calls there. You could have started Johnny Williams. There's a few players out there that could have started. Owen Watkin as well. Could have easily started. So there's so much strength and depth all of a sudden in that centre position that some players are going to be disappointed to miss out.
And James, where do you feel like the game we won and lost against England?
Well, I think I'm not sure it will be a ridiculous amount of attack involved. I think both teams will probably using their forward dominance. Will try to anyway. The kicking game will be key on the tee. Bigger starting for Wales. So I think that was probably one of the big reasons of him starting with Halfpenny being out and Liam Williams at fullback. Wales wanted to have a kicker that they had full trust and confidence in. So bigger started over Sheedy. But England will. I think they've started put 6 forwards on the bench, so I think they'll be looking to target Wales up front, scrums, mauls, and I think England probably do have the edge in the forwards. And I'm not entirely convinced that they'll be able to play, running rugby and score a ridiculous amount of tries. They've got, fantastic players, Elliot Daly, Johnny May, but they haven't really been firing that well against Scotland and Italy. Obviously, they beat Italy comfortably, but I think that is expected by most teams every year now. So, yeah, I think the we saw Wales' driving maul against Scotland. That went very well. And the try of Wyn Jones, that was the reason for it. Excellent driving maul. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. But I think the forwards are going to probably play the biggest role. And so if we move on to football, Halen, Cardiff have now won 6 in a row, 8 games unbeaten. They must be delighted.
Well, yeah, it's the sacking that's paid off. Mick McCarthy's come in, he's a results man, and he's done exactly that. Like you said, 8 games unbeaten, 6 wins in a row, and not easy games either. Getting a win recently against Bournemouth, and the last time Cardiff won 6 games on the bounce, it was the season they got promoted into the Premier League. So it's all going really well at the moment at Cardiff, but the hard work doesn't stop now. On the weekend, a game against Middlesbrough, against old boss Neil Warnock. It's going to be a tough game, and it's a chance for the Cardiff boys to show Neil Warnock what could have been if he would have stayed in the job for a bit longer than he did. But no, Mick McCarthy, he comes into championship teams and he gets results, and he's done it again here with Cardiff. How long can he keep up this current run going with the team? Well, they're playing very confidently. Kiefer Moore is scoring for fun at the moment, something that was maybe doubted of him when Cardiff signed him. Obviously a big tall striker, 6'5", bit of a target man, but he's putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's exactly what Cardiff need, and is exactly what they're getting at the moment.
And Swansea, another Welsh team, still looking good. What are your thoughts of their recent matches?
Well, the key for Swansea this season has been consistency. All season they've defended brilliantly, and they don't score too many goals, but they get enough goals. Loads of results this season have been won by 1 goal, and like they're playing extremely confidently as well. It's great to see 2 Welsh teams actually performing as they should be, and Steve Cooper, like I said, has got them playing with great confidence. With 2 games in hand as well, they're 8 points off the pace of Norwich right now, but 2 games in hand can see them get right back into the automatic promotion places.
And Newport haven't had the best of times recently, but they won earlier this week. How much of a relief will that be?
Yeah, it was a weird turn of the year for Newport. Started the season so promisingly, looked like they were going to fly through the season at the top of the tree. But like I said, at the turn of the year, a couple of players left, a couple of players came in. The transition was difficult, started dropping points, but picking up a win against Walsall, again, not the best team, but they've not been picking up results recently. So to get a win under their belt was great. And they've got a few games coming up now against teams near the bottom of the table where they should be expecting to pick up points. And if they can do that, they can put themselves right back in contention to try and gain promotion again this season.
You're listening to Radio Glamorgan.
Now, we have our second question of the show. In what game was this iconic goal scored, and why was it so significant?
Beckham could raise the roof here with a goal. I don't believe it. David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals. Give that man a knighthood.
You're listening to your award-winning station,
Radio Glamorgan.
here for you all day, every day.
And now, here is former British and Irish Lions number 8, Michael Owen.
So we're right in the midst at the moment of a pretty unconventional Six Nations tournament. You were the captain of a Grand Slam winning team, and now Wales potentially have this in their sight. So what does it take to win a Grand Slam?
I think, well, Wales have done the first few bits well, and they've obviously won the first 2 games. So it's, I think with the Six Nations, I think every year you look at the games, and over the last number of years, they've all been quite close. And when Wales have done really well, they've snuck a win here or won a tight game, and then it just sets you up on the right path, and you get that momentum. And I think Wales have definitely got that momentum now. I think England will be a massive challenge on Saturday, but it's obviously a game that everyone's really excited about. And they've had a good week's recovery. They've got a number of players coming back, so it's looking good from a Welsh point of view in terms of in as good a place as you could have hoped to have been at the start of the championship going into this game. So I think, yes, that momentum is a big thing. It just builds and builds. And then you go from maybe in this Welsh team particularly, you may be like got a few doubts and stuff. And if you lose, everything starts to creak and get a bit more difficult. But then when you win, it papers over the cracks and builds confidence. And the players start trusting the coaches a bit more. The coaches trust the players a bit more and make them feel good. So it's a really exciting time. And I think just with Wayne Pivac as well, with some of it, with his coaching, he's obviously had some real tremendous success at the Scarlets, which is pretty unprecedented really in regional rugby, and they were phenomenal in the European Cup and put in some top performances. So hopefully with that momentum and the big confidence the players will have from those wins, they can start to really, really kick on. And this England game is obviously a pivotal game for the championship. I think when you look at the recent fixtures between Wales and England, they've been really tight affairs, and England have come out and tried to sort of blow Wales away, and Wales have just hung in there, and then the quality and experience that Wales have got has come through it in the end. So I think it'll be similar this week. Wales have just got to quell that physical, challenging start that England will no doubt produce. And if they can hang in there and stay tough in the game and stay and show their quality when they get their chances, I think they've got a great chance of winning. And it's really exciting. I think it's just the Six Nations so far has been fantastic. I've absolutely loved it. There's been a number of good games. You've got some absolutely world-class players on show, and it's been brilliant. Someone like Louis Rees-Zammit, just he's been absolutely phenomenal, hasn't he? And just got that magic touch, and it's exactly what you need at international level. Those players that can make a difference, and really exciting to see him hopefully outpace Johnny May and score an awesome try.
Here is the third and final song of the show, and it is a good one. Here is U2 with Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For.
Radio Glamorgan.
That was U2 with the classic Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. And the final question of the show is, what event does this renowned commentary come from, and why was it so significant?
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again. So watch it, drink drink it in.
Here is a reminder of the first question. Can you guess what sport and event this famous commentary is from?
In your life, have you seen anything like that?
And the answer is the Masters in 2005. Tiger Woods chipped in on the famous 16th hole at Augusta. It could well be Tiger's best ever shot and the best ever shot played at the Masters. Now, here is a reminder of our second question. In what game was this iconic goal scored and why was it so significant?
Beckham could raise the roof here with a goal. I don't believe it. David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals. Give that man a knighthood.
The answer is, of course, David Beckham's free kick against Greece back in 2001. The injury time winner sent our neighbours to the 2002 World Cup, but of course, football did not come home. I'm sure there's people hoping for 3 out of 3. Here is our final question reminder. What event does this renowned commentary come from, and why was it so significant?
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again. So watch it, drink it in.
And that was the iconic last-minute winner from Sergio Aguero that secured the Premier League title, ripping it out of their rivals, Manchester United's hands in the process. It could be one of the most famous Premier League goals in history, coupled with the most famous commentary in Premier League history. We hope you did well on the quiz, and if you didn't, we hope you still had fun. That is all from us today. We hope you enjoyed the Sporting Roundup on Radio Glamorgan. I've been your host, James Dodd. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you, and goodbye.
Broadcasting from the John Wills Studio at the University Hospital of Wales in Cardiff. We are Radio Glamorgan.